recording, which pushes you to Wednesday, Friday again next week. Is that right? Yeah, so Wednesday, Friday. So don't come Tuesday because you'll be with the wrong group. What year it is? Yes, it is 21, isn't it? Okay, lesson 35. More parallelograms. And last year I wrote continued from lesson 34, if you want to write that up there so that you just kind of know the rules go together. So we've had 4 rules so far. Opposite sides parallel, opposite sides congruent, opposite angles congruent, consecutive angles supplementary. Now we're going to add something about the diagonals. So I'm going to use the old geometer. Mine's number 10. If you happen to pick up one like mine, it is 10. Most of yours, I think, is 33. Oh, Cam didn't get him one, did he? It'll either be 10 or 33. It's at the top or at the bottom, depending on, because sometimes those get mixed together. I think I only have 11 of the old ones, the oldest of the old. So we're going to label it, again, the same as we did yesterday, or Wednesday, A, B, C, D. And the new rule, so we'll just add it as number 5, is the diagonals bisect each other. What in the world does that mean? Oh, we've done segment bisectors before. What does bisect mean you do to something? If I take a piece of wood and I'm going to bisect it, what am I going to do to it? I'm going to cut it, but I'm going to cut it a certain way. What would you think? Obviously, I'm going to cut it into 2 pieces. What is if it's bisected? Y'all wearing me out this morning. Let's see. Let's go back over here. Okay. Segments. Oh, look at there. Number 4 on page, back in August, on page, what page would that have been? 17. It says bisect segment RS, and then it said find the midpoint, which is the same thing. So what did we actually do if we were bisecting it? Find the middle, which means what's true about the 2 parts. They're going to be congruent or the same measure. So if we put a point, well, let's draw them first. So AC's a diagonal. Diagonal is when you connect the vertices and they're not the sides. They say non-consecutive vertices. So one of the diagonals is AC, the other diagonal is DB. We're going to make that point in the middle E. So look what it's going to say. And we won't use this picture, so I'll just mark on it. Let's see. So segment AE will be congruent to AEC because DB bisects it. So segment AE is congruent to segment EC. And then DE is going to be congruent to EB. Now you have to be careful because when we get into some other, like rectangles and stuff like that, it's, yes. Oh, thank you. I'm sorry. See, you got to tell me. DB, you think I'd eventually get it, but I just don't. DE, I used to think I would, but I've decided now I won't. DE is congruent to EB. Now, they're not congruent to each other. That's what you got to be aware of. They never will be in just a parallelogram. Now, oh, here's an oldie but goodie. If lines are parallel, oh, everybody, I always used to want to put 2 R's in it. Parallel, then alternate, I'm going to write the whole word. Alternate interior, see, is that the one we want? Yeah. Yeah, we're not going to have exterior. Alternate interior angles are congruent. And we'll just do the symbol. Now this is the one that everybody forgets. Everybody forgets. Okay, if AB is parallel to DC, I guess this really ought to be stated as another rule, but it's a little more complicated, and I didn't actually, I'm not going to write them all out, but if AB is parallel to DC, then this angle right here, BAC, is alternate to this angle right here, DCA, and they're going to be congruent to each other. Okay, and then this way. So this one is congruent to this one. And then it's going to get really busy, but I'll say it. AD right here and BC being parallel is going to make this one congruent to this one. And then these others, and I'm not going to put 4 marks on it, but it would be this one and this one right here. So you've got to watch for the ones across from them. Arithmetic helps a lot. And I don't give a lot of these on quiz, y'all know that, because if you miss one, you miss all of them, so you have to be careful. So the best thing is just jump into it. Number 3. Where did I have a 3? Why is that a 3? Oh, I did it as a continuation from, well, it's, yeah, we'll just, since we continued it from 34, we'll call it example 3, because I really think your classwork's going to tie all this together. Okay, same picture. We could turn it over. Oh, picked up the wrong geometer. What did I do with it? I don't want the little baby one. Y'all, I just had it. Is it this one? Yeah, I'll lay it over there. Okay, we're going to call this one parallelogram PQRS. Okay, I'm not on screen. Just say my name and I'll know that's what's wrong. Let's go ahead and draw the diagonals. And we're going to call that point right here T. Now we're just doing angles in this one. I think you'll have some with sides, but that's going to tie back to lesson 34. But true, you have to also pay attention. Like if they give you that up here that AE is 10, then EC is going to be 10, and the whole thing would be 20. But I didn't do any of these in your classwork, but I guess I assumed that wasn't the difficult part. So, you know, opposite sides are congruent. This segment's congruent to that one. This congruent to that one. And then, but the angles usually are the toughest. So they're going to give us that the measure of angle PRS is 49 degrees, which is, I guess we better write that. Angle PRS is 49 degrees. The measure of angle SPQ, am I on screen? Yes. Now, I'm going to tell you, and a lot of you have got to where you print your lessons. This is definitely a lesson to print, to write on it, and then put your answers on your slips, because it's one I would not do without printing it out, because I have to have that picture to write on it. And you have to use one angle to find the other one, and this one's 35 degrees. And then we want to find the measure of angle SQR. It'd be nice if we numbered these, but we didn't. Measure of angle STR. Measure of angle PSQ. Is that kids outside? Is that what I'm hearing? Okay. I thought it's either somebody's laptop or that doesn't have their volume turned down. They're usually screaming, so that's the reason it didn't sound like kids. And they're usually standing right by my door. Okay, PRS is this little one right here, which is 49 degrees. Now, I'm going to stop and say this. I may not label it, but see, I immediately know that this is parallel to this. Here's my, do you remember? It just slipped my mind. It's called the transversal. Then alternate interior, that one right there is going to be 49. But I'm going to hold off for just a minute and see what else we've got here. SPQ Q. Now this is where it's hard to label because the whole angle is 106. I don't know how to do that. Let's just do it that way. And then QSR is 35. Now, when you have a lot of angles like this, you're going to, you may not do it the same way I do it. But I want to talk about the angles right around this point right here now. I don't know if they're going to ask for it. I think they do ask for one of them. You're going to have to remember there's 180 degrees in every little triangle. So see, this triangle is 180, so we could get that STR right there, which you're going to ask for us. And that's about the only way you're going to get those, is get that 180 right here, use your vertical angles, use your linear pair to get these other two. So you got to keep that in mind to get into that middle one. The first one it asks for is SQR, which is this one right here. Now let's see how we could go about that. Now again, there's different ways to do it. I think I'm going to go, and it's parallel to PS, so it's going to be the same as this one right here. Now let me ask you, this may not be the easiest, but this is the way I'm going to go about it. Is there any way I can find all of this angle right here? See, all of this one is 106. Now be careful. Does that split it in two? I can tell you it will not, because a parallelogram, it's going to have to be, it's actually going to have to be a square or a rhombus to make this, like if this is 25, that's not going to be 25. I guarantee you that. But what do we know about consecutive angles? Look this way. What do we know about that angle and this angle in a parallelogram? If you did 34, you should have had those. What do you know about the angles across from each other? This one and this one. They're the same. This one's same. What about two that are consecutive right after each other? They add up to 180. So I know that all of this angle right here is 180 minus 106, which is going to be 74 degrees. That's all of this one, 74 degrees. I'm going to write it on the outside. So if all of this angle is 74, and again, this may not be the only way to go about it. It's a lot of arithmetic. If this one is 25, or is that 35? That's 35, isn't it? So if this one's 35 and the whole thing is 74, can I get just this little piece right here? Yes. 74 minus 35 is, I got it somewhere, 39 degrees. I'm trying to do the arithmetic for you so that we don't have to spend time on that. Now, in that roundabout way, now this angle is alternate interior to that angle, so this one is 39 degrees. So ST, that's why you need to write on your picture, because even though we didn't need this angle, we had to do it to get this one. Now, I have a triangle right here, angle STR, which is 180 degrees. I know this part of it is 35, and I know this part of it is 49. So I can get angle STR by subtracting 35 and 49 from 180, which somewhere in my picture I have that. I have it as 96 degrees. Okay, that just helps you with arithmetic, that this one is 96. Now, it's not quite to scale. It is obtuse. It's a little bit bigger than obtuse, but I try to keep the obtuse and the acute ones at least in the right place. Okay, definitely a little tougher. PSQ. Oh, we just did that one, didn't we? PSQ is this one we did right here, 39 degrees. And then PQS, which is this one. Okay, this one is alternate interior to this one, so it is 35 degrees.